You are halfway across a parking lot with a coffee in one hand and your keys in the other when two agents step toward you. One asks, "Where are you coming from?" It sounds casual, like small talk, like the kind of question you answer without thinking. But that question is not about directions. It can open three doors: where you live, where you work, where you crossed. One fast answer can become a thread they pull. The danger is the instinct to explain. When an ICE agent asks, "Where are you coming from?" the real question is whether you know the one sentence that stops a casual answer from becoming evidence. Before you hear the phrase, you need to understand why the normal answer is the trap. I am going to talk to you the way I would talk to a client before the situation happens, not after. You will learn the exact sentence to say, when to say it, what not to add, and what to do if the agent keeps pressing. Because the mistake most people make is believing that cooperation means answering every question. It does not. Cooperation means you stay calm. You do not run. You do not lie. You do not argue on the sidewalk like you are in a courtroom. But you also do not volunteer facts just to sound innocent. That is the reframe. Your job is not to prove you are harmless in the first 10 seconds. Your job is to avoid handing over information the law did not require you to give. The first thing to know is that not every question from an officer has the same legal meaning. An officer can ask a question without detaining you. That is the part people miss. If an ICE agent walks up in a bus station, outside a courthouse, near a job site, or on a sidewalk, the uniform can make the moment feel automatic. They ask, "Where are you coming from?" Your brain hears authority. Your mouth wants to answer. But legally, there may be a door in front of you. Door 1 is a consensual encounter. That means they are talking to you, but you are not required to stay. Door 2 is detention. That means they are using legal authority to stop you from leaving. Those doors look almost identical in real life. Same badge, same tone, same question. So you do not guess, you clarify. The sentence is, "Am I free to leave?" Say it calmly, not sarcastic, not loud, not as a challenge, as a boundary. If they say yes, leave. Do not explain where you were. Do not say where you are going. Do not fill the silence because it feels rude. The law's exact words do more than your instincts will under pressure. But if they do not let you leave, that is when the one phrase matters most. If they block your path, keep your documents, surround you, or make it clear you are not leaving, the question changes. Now, where are you coming from is not small talk. It is a thread to pull, because once you answer, they can compare your words to records, to another person's answer, to something in your bag, to something on your phone, or to something you said 5 minutes earlier when you were nervous. You may be telling the truth and still create a problem because fear makes people add details. So here is the phrase. Memorize this. I choose to remain silent, and I want to speak with a lawyer. That is it. Not, I did nothing wrong. Not, I am just coming from work. Not, why are you asking me? And never a guess designed to sound harmless. The phrase works because it does two things at once. First, it clearly invokes your right to remain silent. Second, it asks for a lawyer. It does not lie, it does not argue, it does not give them a new fact to test against you. Say it in a calm voice, hands visible, no extra story. If you are not sure whether you are detained, put the pieces together like this. Am I free to leave? If the answer is no, or they keep questioning you, say, I choose to remain silent, and I want to speak with a lawyer. Then stop. The danger is that agents may not stop after the first sentence. They may ask it again, just with a different mask. What country are you from? Where were you born? Where do you live? Do you have papers? Listen carefully. Those are not 4 separate conversations. They are 4 doors into the same room. The pressure comes from making you feel rude, suspicious, or guilty for not answering a simple question. That is the trap, because most people do not stay silent. They fill the silence. They say, I live over there. Then, I was born in. Then, my documents are at home. Then, I am just visiting my cousin. Now the agent has locations, names, timing, and immigration clues. Not because you confessed, because you tried to sound cooperative. Do not improvise. If the question changes, your answer does not. I choose to remain silent, and I want to speak with a lawyer. If they ask again, repeat it. I choose to remain silent, and I want to speak with a lawyer. Same tone, same words, no sarcasm, no debate. If you want the exact words before pressure makes you search for them, subscribe. And if they move from questions to searching your bag, pockets, car, or phone, add one more sentence. I do not consent to a search. That sentence is not a magic shield. They may search anyway, but it preserves the line. It says you did not agree. If they use force or arrest you, do not pull away, shove, run, or grab your phone back. Say your objection. Remember faces, badges, vehicles, time, and witnesses if you can. Your job is not to win the argument on the sidewalk. Your job is to stop feeding the file. The same principle becomes even more important when the encounter happens at your door. At home, the rules change because the door is not just a door. It is a legal boundary. So if agents knock, do not open it to be polite. Do not crack it so you can hear better. Speak through the closed door and ask, "What agency do you work for?" If they say ICE, keep the door closed. Then ask to see the warrant. Not on a phone waved in the air. Not described through the wood. Ask them to slip it under the door or hold it up to a window. Here is the part people miss. Not every paper with a seal is the same paper. A judicial warrant is signed by a judge. It should identify the correct address or the correct person, and it gives legal authority for entry. That is the document that matters at your home. An ICE warrant, a DHS form, or an immigration administrative warrant is different. It may look official. It may have names, boxes, signatures, and government language. But it is not the same as a judge signing an order that lets agents enter your home. That difference is everything. If they do not show a valid judicial warrant, say the sentence clearly, I do not consent to your entry. Do not add a speech. Do not explain who lives there. Do not answer where someone went. The sentence is the line. If they force their way in anyway, do not block them, push them, or stand in the doorway. Step back. Stay calm. Repeat, I do not consent to your entry. I choose to remain silent and I want to speak with a lawyer. That is not surrender. That is control under pressure. Now pull back and look at what all these rules are really doing. Now pull back and look at the pattern. At the car window, on the sidewalk, at the front door, the danger is not only the badge, it is the empty space after the question. That space creates pressure. You want to sound cooperative. You want the moment to end. You want to prove there is nothing to hide. So fear starts writing the script for you. That is improvisation. And improvisation is where people give locations, names, schedules, work details, travel routes, and family information before they understand what they have just handed over. The agent's question may sound casual, but your answer can become a thread to pull. So the bigger lesson is this. You do not need a perfect speech. You need a short legal boundary that you can say before your nerves take over. Ask, am I free to leave? Say, I choose to remain silent. Say, I do not consent to a search. Say, I want to speak with a lawyer. Plain words, early words, no extra commentary. Because under pressure, safety does not come from sounding clever, it comes from refusing to improvise. So when the moment comes, the answer has to be simple enough to remember under stress. So here is the sentence before the pressure starts. If an ICE agent asks, where are you coming from? Do not explain the route, the job, the visit, or the name of the person you saw. Say this calmly. I choose to remain silent and I want to speak with a lawyer. That is the line. If you do not know whether you can walk away, ask, am I free to leave? If the answer is yes, leave. If the answer is no, stay calm, remain silent, and do not resist. At home, keep the door closed. Ask for a judicial warrant. Say, I do not consent to your entry. Memorize the words now, before fear supplies different ones. Subscribe so you have the words before you need them. Comment rights if you want a wallet card version to practice. Thanks for watching.